Well, everyone, that happened. Survivor Series 2021 is in the books. I'm Brian Zane. I'm so flustered from this. I can't even get the names right. I'm Brian Zane. He's Jay Biggs.
What's up?
Yeah, gut reaction, Jay. What's your thoughts about this pay-per-view?
It is what it is. That's like you said, man. I mean, it was just a bunch of mediocre bullshit.
I mean, I will say, the wrestling, you never let me down with in terms of the in-ring action and like the athleticism and it's all great stuff. But man, there's a lot to talk about. There's so much to talk about most about what didn't happen. But we've got to start off with the fact that Vince McMahon rolls up to the arena as the show begins. And I love how like all these people surrounding the limo are like, "Yay, it's Vince McMahon! Thank you for not firing us." He pops out there and he brings out the Cleopatra egg. And if you're not a Netflix subscriber or you've not seen the action comedy romp Red Notice starring Dwayne Johnson and Ryan Reynolds, you have no idea what the fuck is going on and why Vince McMahon is holding this golden egg. And the reactions, every face tells a story when you look at the crowd of the wrestlers who are observing this.
Right.
Everything.
I was hoping it was a brass ring at first, you know, like grab the brass
That's
ring.
what it really is.
Take it by the ring.
I fired all these people so I could afford this fancy egg. That's the whole thread of this show. It's because it's The Rock's 25th anniversary in wrestling, then you've got this giant commercial for the Red Notice, which, by the way, it's a fine film, you know, and so do check it out. The Rock and Ryan Reynolds have great chemistry, but they're doing this big commercial for it, and there's more ads within the ads, and it's total madness.
Yeah.
We'll talk about all that as the show goes on, but first, the first match of the evening is Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair, champion versus champion.
This had the most intrigue going into the pay-per-view, in my opinion.
I appreciated Becky. Well, she had kind of a two-tone tribute act with her gimmick. She had Scarlet Witch boots and singlet, but Effie ring gear jacket with the spikes and the leather. And you know what? Matt Cardona did the same thing earlier this week. I tell you, Effie is a trendsetter. One word they used a lot in the commentary for this, Jay, was physical. What would you say was your take about how these two interacted in the match?
Well, it's like we were talking here during the match, and I said, you know, if I was a 14-year-old kid that was watching this show, didn't know anything about the business, I might actually think to myself, damn, these two girls are beating the shit out of each other. But just being in the business and knowing how people work, it's a little tough to do that still.
Yeah, there's a lot of light stuff in here. There's a whole lot of, oh my god, they're really laying into each other for real in this one. But it's like at the same time, they're saying that, like, they're pulling their punches and they're doing these slaps that don't like really connect.
Iggy was caught on camera.
Yeah, there's a lot of like spot calling that was like blatantly caught. That aside, when you kind of take away like the strikes and the whole, oh my god, is this a work or a shoot? Like, the other spots they're doing in the match do look well, and like they have a chemistry, and we've seen that from time and time again from all the matches they've had. Like, I love like the powerbomb by Charlotte folds Becky in half.
Right. And then she tried to cover her. Like, I like that. I mean, the match was physical, but like you said, you know, it's just one of those things where it's like, it didn't come off completely clean.
Like, it wasn't their best match. Like, they've had better matches, you know, and like it felt like that, you know, a common thread we'll see in this show. It just didn't feel that way because there was a lack of stakes, you know, with a lot of this show. And this is no different. And like, this is one of the ones people are most emotionally invested in because of like the worked shoot aspect of it. Oh, the perceived heat that Charlotte has, how it's going to play into things. So there was a lot of emotional investment in that and their history together. But besides that, there wasn't really much reason for them to fight, I feel like. The two trade finishers, and there's some of that going on. Like, they're each able to get out of each other's stuff. Charlotte tries to pin and grab onto the ropes while she does it. The referee catches her, but then Becky counters it. She's grabbing the ropes. Charlotte, I think her hand also reaches the ropes there.
Yeah, it's a really sloppy-looking weird finish. I mean, it's like, you know, if there was any real true heat on Charlotte for real that she was leaving or anything like that, just in my opinion, this could have been like a Montreal type job. Like, she was just not going to lose to Becky on the way out. You know,
I wonder how they kind of talk about this, you know, in the weeks to come.
But what a great work though between those two. If they are still cool behind the scenes and it's not really true heat, you know, then, I mean, what a great work by those two women. I mean, they've got us wondering.
Yeah. Well, Jay, what star rating would you give this opening match here with Becky and Char?
Out of 5?
Yeah.
About 3.5. I'd say.
Okay, yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to agree with you on that one. I think the fact that, like, a lot of the stuff that was meant to be shooty and physical, like, didn't always pan out that way. And also that finish, like, it was just kind of like, Here's the thing. I feel that, like, there's this era now where it's like, if you have a star versus a star, more often than not, they can't just have one beat the other. Right. It's like there's all these levels of protection you give certain wrestlers. I don't understand that. Like, it's okay if a star loses to a star straight up. And I think that, you didn't need a fuck finish with like you had here.
Right. But I am interested to know, what is Charlotte going to say coming out of this? Because her reaction to the finish was rather interesting.
It was like, she got me.
So where are they going to go with all this? Hopefully they move on to other things, but, it's SmackDown and Raw for Becky, so I guess we'll find out what happens.
So, yeah, I mean, it was an okay match, fine, until the finish, I think. And, they've had better matches. We get our first of many Rock Maries. These special moments in time. The Rock, all his years in wrestling, beginning with his debut at Survivor Series '96.
Rock Memories. I just got that.
Yeah, thank you. It took me a while to come up with that one. That's the first of several. Like I said, this whole episode is like a love letter to The Rock. It's like very similar to last year's Survivor Series when it was all about The Undertaker and his 30 years and everything. The payoff's very different though, and we'll get to that. We also get a random Drew McIntyre package, just like out of the blue. It's not even like a good transition either. It just looks like
it's almost like you're still thinking you're in the Rock promo.
Yeah, it felt like there was like no break to that. It was all of a sudden, here's Drew McIntyre. Debuting at age 21,
which they
chosen one.
Right, and then they do this throughout the evening with just a couple other different people. You get Bobby Lashley and also Charlotte Flair later in the evening too.
Yeah, the Charlotte one came at the end of the show, which is like, where's this coming from?
Right, it's so oddly placed.
Yeah, because we had one for Drew here, and then later in the show we had one for Bobby Lashley, and I'm like, what are they telling us here? Are they trying to plant seeds for like a specific match, like a Mania rematch, or are they just show like, here's this random showcase of names? Okay, like, great.
Here's who we're pushing.
Why are you doing this at a pay-per-view? When we already see, in the case of the Bobby Lashley one, we had just seen him in the ring. Like, there's your commercial.
Yeah, right. Like, vignettes are something you do on Raw, maybe, to get people intrigued to get onto these bigger shows. But I will go back real quick. You said that this whole show is like a love letter to The Rock. If it's a love letter to The Rock, it's like a one-sided love letter that you put on The Rock's windshield in a rainstorm and hope that he'd come outside and eventually find it and it blew away.
Yeah.
Because that's really...
There's the Men's Survivor Series match. Next, you have Team Raw, which is Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley, Austin Theory, and Finn Balor. By the way, Austin is the only one on the team not wearing team colors, so shame on you,
and not
Austin.
A former world champion, even though that's what Adam Pearce wanted.
Right. Team SmackDown's King Woods, Jeff Hardy, Sheamus, Happy Corbin, and Drew McIntyre. Kevin Owens right away bails out of the ring and gets himself counted out. And there's a big, bow, and he leaves.
You know what? It's one of two things going on. Either one, it's him showing, I'm a dick, I don't care about you guys on Raw, screw you. And it's a great way to get him over as a F you to Raw, I guess to the other guys. Or that contract thing is for real, it's coming up, and he didn't want a weird ending to his last shot in WWE, and that was our bow out and goodbye.
It feels like one of those things where it's like, maybe this is the last time we see Kevin Owens. It could be, or it's at the start of something going on. It kind of reminds me of, I think it was last year's Survivor Series where Seth Rollins got himself eliminated in very short order, very similarly. I think Kevin was on the same team then too, so it's kind of a weird full circle moment. But yeah, it was interesting. Like, they're trying to maybe work the marks, or trying to play into the internet theories about Kevin Owens and where he could end up, if this is going to be some kind of allusion to that. I mean, I don't know. It's fun to speculate, and of course we'll see what kind of fallout, if any, there is for that on Monday. Finn eliminates Happy Corbin. At this point, I start to realize that Pat McAfee is just reduced to breathless sentence fragments. He's just screaming out every once in a while, or it's in the middle of some panic attack he's having, Drew, are you okay? When Bobby Lashley throws him into the ring. Woods goes on a big run and then gets murdered by Lashley. We have a face-off with Drew and Lashley, shades of WrestleMania, which does get one of the bigger pops of the match for a little bit. They brawl on the outside and we get the double count out. The fans do not approve. They turn on that moment pretty quickly there.
Yeah, and it's funny because we were talking about the piped in sound noises, from the crowd, and I was like, can you imagine if they piped in this is awesome or something, you know what I mean, just something stupid.
There's never a bad time to drop that in, guys. I'm just saying, if you want to save a moment that's not getting over, just push that button. We know you can do it. We know you do it. Sheamus hitting the brogue kick on Finn to eliminate him. We get some like Sheamus doing some work with there's a poetry in motion where Sheamus is the base. There's double beats the Bowden by he and Hardy. Sheamus going for a tag though, but like no one's there for him, and Theory rolls him up to eliminate him. Sheamus is bad and decks his own partner Jeff Hardy, and then Hardy overcomes big odds, hits Theory with a swanton. We're down to he and Seth Rollins. That's the final matchup here. There is a random "This is awesome" chant during this point, which I don't think is warranted. Like the match is fine, but I don't think it was awesome.
Well, we got other unwarranted chants later.
Jeff goes for the swanton. Seth puts the knees up and hits the stomp to win for Raw, right?
Raw, yeah.
He's on Team Raw now. Yes.
It seems like such a scramble.
Yeah, it's just so funny. I give this one 3.5 stars out of 5. There was some good action. Some lore was brought up, which I kind of liked with Lashley and McIntyre. But honestly, like with these Survivor Series matches, lore is, and all the matches tonight, lore is pretty much the most anyone had to go off of.
Right.
When it came to like building things up. Well, in honor of The Rock's 25th anniversary in wrestling, they announced this on Smackdown on Friday that there will be a 25-man battle royal. Because, The Rock was really well known for his battle royal experience. Like, there's one thing he's really known for is those battle royals.
Well, I speculated that the winner was going to get a big statue of The Rock.
Yeah, right? The Dwayne Johnson Memorial Battle Royal. He's not even dead yet. Who cares? Right. We have a statue. We paid $5,000 for this thing. Come on.
Right. Oh, dear God. like Seth Rollins' old statue that Sting destroyed.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. They didn't get a statue, but you did get some pizza in this one because you have it's like a Russian nesting doll of commercials in this show. You have Red Notice, and within that, you've got Pizza Hut. Side note, this is also a great opportunity for Ryan Reynolds to show up on the event because he was in Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place. Just like the delicious stuffed crust at Pizza Hut, it's amazing how much advertisement and sponsorships they can stuff into a pay-per-view.
Right, and then the street pizzas are throwing out things, the street profits.
Oh my God. I would love that kind of like a weird collaboration with like Ninja Turtles toys and like Street Profits. The street pizzas.
Well, can you imagine if they came out, they have the red outfits? Can you imagine if they were like kind of like the color of cheese with just like a little red dot? So it looked like pepperoni.
I would
Street
love that.
Pizza Profits.
Street Pizza Profits.
That sounds like a place that you would buy something on the corner in New York.
Street Pizza leads to profits every time.
The Halal Brothers next to them.
The pizza is used as a prop in this thing as R-Truth tries to distract Omos and Otis with the pizza, and Otis starts eating it and seems really into it for a while. Omos is eliminating everyone in this thing.
Well, it's because AJ, if you didn't notice, actually said, you can have the pizza if you eliminate everybody. Right. Well, so that's what he was looking forward to.
Right, the big PO, the pizza PO. AJ is, by the way, camping outside for a lot of the match. We get a Shanky Omos stare down, and that really surprised me.
It did me too. Wow, I'm gonna go ahead and drop the lanky name.
Yeah.
As of now, it's just going to Shanky because he's actually thicker through the chest than Omos.
Yeah, I didn't realize that Shanky was as tall as Omos. That was crazy to see that. I didn't think that they were that close in height. So it's it almost makes Omos less impressive in a way. Also, I will say Omos was really good in this match. He had 12 eliminations. He wins the whole damn thing. But what I think is interesting is he also takes out Commander Aziz and Shanky by himself.
Right.
Again, it's weird who they choose to protect and who they don't protect because you have 3 giants and you have one guy. One of those giants beat the other 2.
Wasn't that why they got rid of Braun Strowman though? Is because they had.
Right.
I don't understand that. I'm still trying to figure that out.
It just seems there's chances for all those giants to get big stuff in, but really it was the Omos show. And so, it's great for him because he looks dominant in this thing, and that's a bright spot about this thing. But I just think it's really weird how they went about. You also are kind of cutting off the legs these 2 other giants who also have upside. I love the tug of war spot with you've got Omos and Aziz.
Yes, but it looks so scary
AJ in the middle.
AJ.
I love AJ in these ridiculous precarious spots. Do you remember 2016 when he was crotched on the top rope for a half hour?
Right.
Dean Ambrose mocked him like everyone else did too. So yeah. and also the landing was kind of scary for him too on the floor. So anyway, yeah, Omos wins the whole thing. His prize apparently is the pizza, but then those damn Street Profits, they steal his PO. Like, come on. Sometimes some people will drive like hundreds of miles for the privilege to get some pizza. A pizza and a handshake at the PO at the end of the night.
That is so
I've
true.
been there.
Yes,
we've been there.
We have been
like,
there.
Man, if somebody took my pizza PO, I would be right upset with them, man. I gotta say.
Absolutely. So we feel Omos's pain.
Exactly. I'm gonna give this like 2 stars out of 5, I guess. Like I said, good showing for Omos. No reason for it, and just a really weak excuse. Oh, it's The Rock's thing, so we're gonna do this battle royal. And so I hope they made The Rock proud with this pizza commercial. Up next, the Usos take on RK Bro, tag champs versus tag champs. Kind of a cool stat they mentioned here: Randy Orton breaking Kane's all-time record for pay-per-view matches in WWE. That's pretty awesome. And I think Orton said on Twitter that if he wrestles on Raw the next night, he will have also broken the record for most Raw matches.
Nice.
It's also crazy to think that like, had the pandemic not happened, he probably would have hit that record like a lot sooner. Like last year, he probably would have hit that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I think this is a fine match. Riddle showing his strength early on. Then Riddle takes a lot of the heat in this thing as it goes on. Orton does the hot tag, makes some funny faces because that's what he does when he's a baby face.
Slapped himself a lot. Come on, take this, take that.
He was just shy of doing the big toe touch split.
Yeah.
Riddle tags back in. He takes a double super kick from the Usos. Barely gets the shoulder up somehow, which that felt like a finish to me. I was really surprised that wasn't the end. But then
it did seem like it.
The ending we did get was pretty crazy because you've got the Uso splash attempt on Riddle. Orton hits the RKO in midair, which actually I kind of predicted that was going to happen. So for me, it wasn't totally out of nowhere. But also, I think it was Jimmy. He still landed full on Riddle as he took that. So Riddle still got the brunt of that move.
He did.
There was little room for error in that one, for sure. But Orton picks up the win. He was a legal man. Like Riddle was like Jimmy thought that Riddle was still the legal man. It was like, it was a good match. It was like, again, there wasn't a whole lot of like reason for it, or a lot of heat to it, I feel. But I mean, the story they told was fine. Yeah, it just felt like a good match.
Yeah, the match
was a good quality match. We see the continuing adventures of Vince and his egg. There was a bit earlier where he was like talking and saying, "Your cousin, The Rock, gave me this egg," or something like that. I walked out of the room when that happened. Chris relayed the information to me.
Dude, if something happens to that old man between now and the next time they film something with him, and that's his last appearance ever.
Can you imagine?
Dude.
So anyway, he's in the office with Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville, and suddenly the egg has gone missing. Oh no! The golden MacGuffin. And so
this is after like a minute of conversation too, and then he like demands like woman, get out of here and call the police.
Call the police, and you, Adam and I will talk strategy. So yeah, they're gonna get all the stars of Raw and SmackDown to appear on Raw tomorrow to get to the bottom of this and figure out who done it. Who's the one who purloined the egg? And all I could think of was like, what brand split? What draft? What's the point? Bring them all on the show every week. Let's find an excuse for it. If it's not Survivor Series, it's a missing egg. Let's find an excuse to put them all together again. What was worse for like product placement or a commercial? Was it this shit with Red Notice and the egg, or was it the zombie lumberjacks with Miz and Damian Priest?
I don't
for the Batista movie.
I think this one. I'm gonna go with this one because that was only one match, and they didn't continue it the whole entire episode, or show.
And nor did it really bleed into Raw.
Right.
Which honestly, I think it would have helped the zombie lumberjack match in my opinion. But like, this is just I think it's a bridge too far. They're establishing this is the MacGuffin in this action movie, and here in our world of wrestling, the egg is real, and also for some reason it's a Vince McMahon's possession. We see a Xia Li vignette. That's another kind of star they actually do show, but like this feels more like, oh, this actually belongs on the pay-per-view because it's like heralding the arrival of someone new, as opposed to like, here's a star you know and love in Drew McIntyre. But I thought that the vignette was rad. It was this animated comic book style thing. Like this apparently ran on SmackDown last week. I don't think you caught it.
I didn't catch it on I didn't catch it on SmackDown, but I did catch it after like someone had made the comment. I'm like, oh, Xia Li, and I looked it up. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't.
Yeah, it was different. It was just really cool, and like they've stripped away the supernatural element. They've kind of got rid of the Tian Sha, Mei Ying connection from NXT, and they seem to be kind of rebranding her as the Protector, like this kind of warrior character. I mean, she's got a lot better now than she was when she started out in NXT, and so I really enjoyed her stuff by the end there, and I'm really excited to see what she can do when she gets on the main roster. Speaking of ladies on the main roster. Time for the women's SmackDown, women's Survivor Series matchup. I get Team Raw, Bianca Belair, Carmella, Queen Zelina, Liv Morgan, and Rhea Ripley taking on Team SmackDown. That's Sasha Banks, Shotzi, Natalya, Shayna Baszler, and Toni Storm. And Jay, I'll tell you one thing. This is kind of a rule that I've really discovered in WWE in the last several years. If a wrestler debuts a new wrinkle in their gimmick within a month before Survivor Series or Royal Rumble, 50-50 shot that wrinkle is going to be what costs them and gets them eliminated in said match.
Right.
And that's what happened here with Carmella. She's dicking around with the mask for too long, and she gets too preoccupied with it, and she gets eliminated right away.
Who was it that said, was it Zelina or somebody yelled out well, she should be wrestling without a damn mask?
Yeah.
It was Rhea Ripley.
I think it was Rhea who said that too, yeah. So that was quick, and then we went a long time without any eliminations.
Yeah.
I will say this, this is very much the anti-Queen's Crown in the sense they actually gave these women considerable time.
See, they heard me bitching about it on the Smackdown review.
I think they heard everyone bitching about it for sure. And so they gave time to this one, but boy, the crowd was not into this. They turned on them pretty much from the beginning.
Well, yeah, but again, it's I even said at one point it was Liv Morgan I think that hit a move, and that's what really made me go, oh my god, they don't give a shit.
No, because
Liv usually gets a good pop.
Yeah, Liv is supposed to be one of the big up and coming baby faces on Raw, and there was a lot of muted reactions. A lot of there's a moment where Shotzi just kind of beats up Sasha just in the middle of the match, and the other teammates just seem kind of bemused by okay, we're just gonna move on now. Fans are doing the wave, which I think is lame, and we get a "We Are Awesome" chant at one point, which seems what are we doing?
What are we doing? How about the other
yeah, we get
CM Punk.
CM Punk chants. Again, apropos of nothing. Folks, CM Punk is back. Let it go. Stop the chanting.
Right.
It's done. It's over with. I will say, the crowd finally did kind of wake up and have focus for a second with Sasha and Bianca when they were facing off.
Right.
Then it kind of went back to same old shit. Poor Zelina Vega, the hometown girl in New York. She gets a flurry, but she's the next one eliminated. Then Liv eliminates Toni Storm. Sasha eliminates Liv. Shayna takes out Rhea Ripley. So it goes down to Belair all by herself on Team Raw. And that's, I tell you what, the beginning of the implosion of SmackDown starts on some real dumb shit where it's the ladies keep trying to stop Sasha from getting in the ring. And there's multiple times, though, she's far enough in the ring the referee would have stopped the count in any other scenario.
Right.
But she gets counted out. The ladies just turned on her. For no, Shotzi is the one thing, but then, Shayna, at least 3 times in this match, is put in this position where she gets bonked into on accident. And that was one of those times. Bianca's able to use that, and she's able to come back and, roll people up and, get eliminations. She runs the table here. It's down to her and Shotzi, and Shotzi gets a flurry, but Bianca hits the KOD to win for Team Raw. Jay, what did you think about this women's Survivor Series match?
It went, other than that area where they didn't have any eliminations, what felt like forever, the match wasn't that bad necessarily, except where it felt like they were really feeding each other. There was one portion of the match where it was feed, and they were actually come on, and I'm ugh, I hate that.
Yeah, when it becomes a little obvious that.
Yeah, it's a little bit too much. But I will say, towards the end, they told a great story, and with Bianca coming out on top, at least, hey, me and you were worried once she lost to Becky if she was going to go down the card or not.
Yeah,
this shows that they got some oomph behind her.
They have faith in her. She ran the table, and I think she looked very strong in this thing. I do feel bad for Shotzi because since turning heel, she has now had 2 high-profile losses, and hopefully that'll turn around. And again, I always say it's when someone turns heel or face, you got to have wins to kind of bolster that and justify it. I think, like I said, at least they gave the ladies some time for this one. I think that this match wasn't terrific. I'm gonna give it 2.5 stars out of 5. It wasn't terrific, but it was a lot better than the fans gave them credit for because they just shat all over this thing.
Right. Well, they were bored at that point.
Yeah, they might have been a little tired or something, but I felt that the women gave a performance that didn't deserve that. There were some points that were okay, kind of weak, but not bad enough to do the wave or chant CM Punk. Come on, I know it's New York. Okay.
My personal opinion, yes, even though they did open up with a women's match, they probably should have flipped where the positioning was with the men's 5-on-5 and the women's 5-on-5. Just to keep the crowd a little bit hotter because it happens sometimes. When the women's matches come on, some of the crowd they're not into it. For whatever reason.
Keeps the momentum going for the first match, and that helps that.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
The men's match doesn't need it as much. That's a theory, I guess. Yeah. We get a bit backstage where Kayla Braxton is with Paul Heyman, and Heyman does some Brooklyn O's, A's, E's, I, O, U's.
You. Yeah.
That's
all the vowels. growls.
Brooklyn noises. And then, like, Kayla informs him that, Brock Lesnar's suspension is no longer indefinite. Paul seems very perturbed by this. We get that big, like, Bobby Lashley video package I told you about earlier. And then it's our main event. Big E, Roman Reigns, champion versus champion. I'll tell you what, since Raw has won every single thing on this show so far, it seems, like, I have a feeling that we're both going to be wrong in our pick as the match was beginning.
Right.
What do you think of this match?
Well, the match was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it told a great story. It was a good main event. But I will say, I mean, just
big
all
in men.
right. But all in all, towards the end, I guess what I came off of it thinking was, I swear we've seen matches just like this on Raw or Smackdown even as the main event. You know what I mean? There needed to be something at the end that was like, oh my God, or something, right?
Yeah, no, it's like, I will say, like, the phrase big and meaty men bumping meat definitely applied here. It's like a beefy big boy battle. God, I haven't seen one of those in a while since they axed Keith Lee. It was, it was a very hard-hitting matchup. It felt very much like a lot of other Roman matches in the last year, but that's not a bad thing because, like, those are generally really good. And so Big E, I think, really proved himself in this one, like, as main event caliber performer, because he hung with Roman, he looked really good, and I think there was some great moments where the crowd was, like, really behind him. There's a moment where it's like Roman's doing all the Superman punches, Big E starts powering out of him, the crowd's super into it. The third one lays him down. Roman does ooh-ah, but by the time he gets up from that, Big E's already up and in his face. And
I love that.
The look on Roman's face and the way the crowd reacted to that was picture perfect. That was an amazing moment.
It was.
Probably one of the emotional high points of the entire match was him coming back from that. Roman hits the guillotine on Big E, but he powers out, hits the big ending. We get a rope break. There's a Superman punch on the outside of the ring. There's, like, Big E tries to get the big ending again, but Roman slips out. The chop block, the spear, the win. Roman wins once again, and I'm going to give the match 4 stars out of 5. Like I said, I think it was a fantastic match for Big E, and I think it was just a great showing for both guys. Like I said, it felt like a lot of matches we've seen from Roman, but those are usually good. So I had no complaints about it, and Big E looked like a real contender here as far as, like, just being someone on that level.
I just want to say my complaint isn't with the match at all. I guess my complaint is more the fact that it's Survivor Series, and you just think they'd do something bigger.
Yep, and what was the biggest thing you could have possibly done on this show was to have The Rock show up, and Lord knows they built up to that for hours on end with all the Red Notice commercials and the missing egg stuff, and
like I said, that love letter it blew off in the wind. Yeah, and he never got it. Never showed up.
Who does not show up? The Rock. It's like unbelievable. No,
I would have accepted. Hold on a minute. Now I was saying I would have accepted some, even just Lesnar's music to distract Roman for E to get a big ending and a win. And that's, you know what I mean? Like,
here's the thing, it's like even The Undertaker showed up for his tribute show at Survivor Series.
And the dude's dead!
I'm not one of those people who's like, I'm mad because, like, this thing that I thought was going to happen didn't. But when you spend all show, like, hyping up The Rock, here are these Rock memories. Here's a plug for his movie. Here's this Battle Royal in his honor for some reason. And you don't have him show up at the end to pop the crowd? What are we doing?
Kind of makes him look like a pebble.
Here's an anecdote for you, something that's very topical for me. Last night, I took my family to see Disney on Ice, and there was a number for Moana. So you had Moana and you had Maui. Now, what was interesting was that the Maui was a sound-alike. It was not Dwayne Johnson's voice in the song or the thing. I'm 90% certain it was Jess Harnell who did a sound-alike for The Rock there, but that's neither here nor there. For some reason, Disney on Ice couldn't get the rights to The Rock's voice, and for whatever reason, The Rock couldn't show up on the show all about him at Survivor Series 2021.
Oh,
twice in one weekend, I am deprived of my real Rock exposure. And I just cannot believe that. Well, I mean,
at least it's funny because I remember when WrestleMania 27 and 28 happened when The Rock and Cena wrestled, you know? And The Rock came back, and my son was like, at the time, he's like, "Oh, Dad, look, it's that guy that comes back and talks every couple of years." And I'm like, well, shit, now I can't even say he even does that.
Nope. Couldn't even get an eyebrow or a thing like that. It's like, I don't know. That was pretty disappointing. I was seeing some people on Twitter say that no one is happy leaving this arena right now. It sounds similar to, like, how you and I observed the scene when we left WrestleMania in New Orleans. After Roman and Brock.
Right. It was no one was happy.
No, that was a miserable night. So I can't imagine how the fans felt about that. Like, after a night of, like, okay wrestling, like fine wrestling, but like no stakes, no reason for any of these matches to be happening. And
I guess we got day one to look forward to.
After all that, it just seems like, yeah, I'd be pissed leaving that building too. What grade would you give Survivor Series 2021, Jay?
Oh, C+.
C+. Yeah, that seems about right. Seems about fair. I'm going to give it C+ as well. Like I said,
wrestling was all good.
Wrestling was fine. I mean, honestly, we should be giving it a worse grade just because of the fucking egg. But we're going to be generous here and give it a C+ grade. I don't know what we were expecting. We went into this thing not caring about this, and we were very open about that.
Well, dude, listen, a golden egg has changed our evening around completely. Tomorrow, I'll be covering it on the Raw review at least, and to find out what happens. So
how fucked up is that like on a pay-per-view as iconic and as historical as Survivor Series, the biggest thing we have going into Monday Night Raw the next night has nothing to do with Big E, nothing to do with the fact that Raw almost ran the table at Survivor Series. It's what's going on with this golden egg. What's going on with this movie
the googly gobbler, he laid it.
Googly, stop calling him that. It's the gobbledygooker.
Whatever. he laid the thing.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if that was a payoff.
I'm not joking with you, dude. Vince and Bruce were both there for that. I'm sure that this is some sort of payoff to a freaking quarter-century-old joke.
Oh, God. I'm sure those two are just going to laugh and laugh.
It's like Kevin Nash pops out of it.
Yeah.
It's Oz.
But what did you think of Survivor Series, folks? Let us know in the comments section below. Drink this in. This last time you're seeing this before NXT and AEW reviews.
I tried to get them in the comments section. I saw you guys. I tried to get them to do the face makeup.
Nope. This is all you're getting is me doing the finger guns. But thank you so much for watching, folks. For Jay Biggs, I'm Brian Zane, and we'll see you next time.